Good morning to all of you. Today we'll continue the remaining portion of the nervous system. Let's have a point on this. ब्रेन अभी हम जो डिस्कशन करेंगे ये रिलेटेड टू ह्यूमन ब्रेन. ओके, अभी ये वीडियो देखो. How the different portions are present in the human brain. ये ब्रेन टा देखा है वर्तमान से ब्रेन रो देखो ब्रेन देखु था मु कंटिन्यू करबी रिमेन. ए जोड़ा देखी जोड़े से ब्रेन टा बुझीला. ओके, ब्रेन एटा देखो ताको मु डिटेल्स बुझेबी. वर्तमान देखो कोनटा गैरस क्या सल्सस क्या. ओके, जस्ट यू हैव टू लुक दैट, देन आफ्टर वी विल कंटिन्यू. ओके, एथिरे देखो दी भाग अछि ब्रेन रो दी भाग अछि. ओके, लेफ्ट हेमिस्फीयर और राइट हेमिस्फीयर. लेफ्ट सेरिब्रल हेमिस्फीयर, राइट सेरिब्रल हेमिस्फीयर. ओके, एटा देखो वर्तमान तापरे हम डिस्कशन करबो. बुझियला. फर्स्ट हम ब्रेन देखि दियो. ब्रेन देखला पूरा हम तापरे अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट वी विल डिस्कस. ओके, এইটা পিলে দেখো বর্তমান তারপরে বুঝাই দিয়াଯିବ। দেখো ব্রেন স্টেম কହନ୍ତି, ଆମେ ପଢିବା ଡିଟେଲ୍ସ ପଢିବା। এটা ସେରିବେଲମ୍ କହନ୍ତି ତାକୁ। ଓକେ, এটা ଦେଖ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ, ତାପରେ ଆମେ ତାକୁ କଣ୍ଟିନ୍ୟୁ କରିବା। ଓକେ, ବ୍ରେନ୍ ତିନି ଭାଗରେ ବିଭକ୍ତ କରାଯାଇଛି। ଗୋଟେ ହେଲା ଫୋର ବ୍ରେନ୍, এইটা ହେଲା তোমার মিড ব্রেন, ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ହେଲା ହାଇଣ୍ଡ ବ୍ରେନ୍। ଓକେ, ଏଟା ଦେଖ ପୁରା ୟେଲୋ ପୋର୍ସନ ତମେ ଯୋଉଟା ଦେଖିବାକୁ ପାଉଛ, ଦିସ୍ ୱାନ୍ ଇଜ ଦ ଫୋର ବ୍ରେନ୍। ଯେଉଁ ଏଠାରେ ଦେଖ ଗୋଟେ କଲର ଦେଖିବାକୁ ମିଳିଲା, ଏଇଟା ହେଲା ମିଡ୍ ବ୍ରେନ୍। ଆଉ ଯେଉଁ ପୁରା ଇ କଲର ଦେଖିବାକୁ ମିଳିଲା, ଦେଟିକି ମାନେ ହାଇଣ୍ଡ ବ୍ରେନ୍। ଫୋରବ୍ରେନ୍ ର କାମ କଣ? ଏଇଟା ହେଲା ଭଲୁଣ୍ଟାରୀ, ମାନେ ନିଜେ ମାନେ କଣ୍ଟ୍ରୋଲରେ ହିଁ କାମ କରିବ। ଏଇଟା ହେଲା ଇନଭଲଣ୍ଟାରୀ। ଓକେ, ଇନଭଲଣ୍ଟାରୀ ମିଡ୍ ବ୍ରେନ୍ ଆଉ ହାଇଣ୍ଡ ବ୍ରେନ୍। Okay, involuntary, that is not our under the control of will. Okay, এটা দেখো ফার্স্ট আমি এই মধ্যে ডিটেইলস পড়িবা। ওকে, ଏବେ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ତମେ ଭିଡିଓଟା ଦେଖୁଥାଅ, କଣ କୋଉ ଜାଗାରେ କୋଉ ପୋର୍ସନ ଅଛି, ବୁଝିପାରିଲ ତ?
the part that comes below that is called hypothalamus. So the next part is hypothalamus. And hypo kind of means lower, so it's the lower part of the thalamus, hypothalamus. And this last part, which we'll be interested in, this one, this small thing that you can see over here, that is called the pituitary gland. Pituitary gland. Right, this part over here. Okay, so these are the four parts of our forebrain. So these are the only parts that we'll concentrate on. So let's put them together. So this is your forebrain parts. All right, so what do they do? What are their functions? We don't have to look at the individual functions. We don't have to do that. But the forebrain as a whole, what does it do? Well, one of the things, like we already said, voluntary functions, but again, let's dig a little deeper. What does it do? Well, one of the things that you can think of is thinking, right? And when I say thinking, I'm including a lot of things over here because there's not much space. Thinking, your learning ability, your speech, language, all of that comes from your forebrain. But what else? To think about what else your forebrain can do, take a look at this picture. The reason you are able to see this is because of your forebrain. You may be wondering, wait, it's my eyes, right? It's eyes. But the eyes send the signal to the brain, and it's your forebrain that does the processing, and that's why you can see it. Similarly, you can hear me right now because of your forebrain. All the 5 senses, you can sense them because of your forebrain. And so, one important function of your forebrain is sensing. Let me just write that as sensing. Okay? What else? Well, you identified this picture, right? It's a puppy. Did you confuse it with something like maybe a donkey or tiger? No. The reason you can even remember it's a puppy is because of your memory, because you know what puppies look like and you can associate with it. So that also comes from your forebrain. Memory, learning, all of that comes from your forebrain. Now, when you looked at this puppy, some kind of emotion came in, right? Like you may have felt, oh, what a cute puppy. You may have felt happy looking at it. Maybe if I showed you some different picture, maybe if I showed you some scary picture, you would experience fear, right? So all the emotions, they too come from your forebrain. All your emotions, including love. That's right, love does not come from the heart, it comes from your forebrain. In fact, fun story, the other day my wife asked me, hey, how much do you love me? I said, I love you with all my forebrain. Yeah, she hasn't spoken to me since, but it was worth it. All right, now besides these, there are also other things that the forebrain does. Some of the feelings that you get, like for example, the feeling of hunger, the feeling of being sleepy, thirst, or maybe, after you have finished a meal, the feeling of fullness. All of that also comes from your forebrain. Actually, that comes from this part of the forebrain, but we don't have to remember all those things. So these are some of the functions of your forebrain. So what's next? We're not going to look at the parts of the midbrain. It's a tiny section. We'll not look at its parts. So let's jump directly to the hindbrain. If you look at this brain stem over here, the blue section, you can actually see 2 distinct regions over there. So one region, one lump over here, one more here, right? So this one, let me use a different color. Right, so this one over here, it's called pons. Pons. Again, I know, little weird name. It's Latin, again, it means bridge. It's kind of like bridging between the middle brain and this bottom part. That brings us to this bottom part, which is pretty important for us. The bottom one is called, let me write that down right here. It's called medulla oblongata. Okay, we're gonna look at its functions separately. And then you can look at this big region. Let's make it dark so we can see that. So this region, which kind of looks like a brain on its own, is called cerebellum. Do not confuse that with cerebrum. Cerebrum is the biggest part of our brain. Cerebellum, that's the name given to this. So these 3 regions These three regions are going to be the part of our hindbrain. So these are hindbrain. And since we're not going to look at the parts of the midbrain, this is it. This is all the parts that we need to remember. So again, what are the functions of the hindbrain? We already saw it's involuntary, but let's look at the individual one. Let's look at medulla oblongata and the cerebellum. These two are important for us. So what does the medulla oblongata do? Well, again, it controls most of the life-giving involuntary processes. Okay, so we'll say life-giving involuntary processes. I'll just write involve, okay? Involuntary processes. That means these are the most essential for life, like your heart beating, your breathing, digestion, all of those essential things are taken care by your medulla oblongata. Along with that, it also controls some of your reflexes. Now, if you've studied about reflexes before, you may be wondering, hey, isn't that controlled by your spinal cord? Yes, some of them are controlled by the spinal cord, but some of the reflexes, like your sneezing, coughing, those are controlled by your medulla oblongata, all right? The idea is the reflexes are not controlled by your thinking part of the brain. None of the reflexes are controlled by the forebrain. That's why they're even called reflexes. But the medulla does control some of your reflexes as well. So these are the two major functions of the medulla. Okay, what about the cerebellum? It's getting a little crowded. I hope you can see them apart. So again, I'm gonna put some division over here. Anyways, so what does cerebellum do? Well, cerebellum also has some involuntary function, but it's a little different. One of its function is to maintain balance. Balance. Now, what I mean by this is, if you want to do even the simplest of the simplest tasks, like walking or maybe holding a cup, these things requires careful calculation, coordination. You have to think about where the gravity is and all of those stuff, right? If you try to build a robot, it's then you actually see how complicated those things are. But we do it with ease. That's because of our cerebellum, because it is the one that maintains balance. And along with that, another major function is motor memory. Motor memory. What's that? Well, think of riding a bicycle. With the first time when you were trying to learn the bicycle, you were using a lot of your forebrain. You were learning. You were learning to get balance. You were learning how the pedal works. You were learning maybe how to do the tring and everything. All those things you're learning. But once you learned that, once you've done enough practice, now when you want to ride your bicycle, you don't even think about it. We say it has become our second nature, right? All of things happen automatically. How? It's the cerebellum. That's what we call as motor memory. Another example could be, let's say when you're typing on a keyboard, if you have enough practice, you don't have to look down anymore. You don't have to worry about which keys are where. It just automatically happens. Motor memory. So all those things are controlled by the cerebellum. And you know how I can remember this? I remember this by remembering that, when people drink alcohol, it's their cerebellum that gets affected. Think about it. If your cerebellum gets affected, your balance gets affected. And that's why people who are intoxicated, they can't balance themselves. They will be walking funny and everything. They may no longer be in a position to ride a bicycle. This is actually one of the reasons why we say don't drink and drive, because your motor memory gets affected. So even the most basic things that usually we think it's easy for us to do, like while driving, that gets affected. All right, so that's how I remember the functions of the cerebellum. All right, so finally you may be wondering, what about the midbrain? So this is our midbrain, right? We're not going to look at the parts of the midbrain. Midbrain also controls some of the involuntary functions. For example, when you shine light in your eyes, your pupils become smaller. That is controlled by your midbrain. So the midbrain also controls some of your involuntary functions, but we're not going to look at that. And this is pretty much it for us.
मेरा भी अभी क्लास होता है। अरे लास्ट में क्यों ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं? पता नहीं है इनको।
Now, since this screen itself contains the entire summary, why don't you try pausing the video and then revise and then see if you can recall all the parts and the functions without looking.
eToro 全球领先社交投资平台，140多个国家和地区的数百万用户选择使用 eToro 进行交易。eToro 创新的跟单交易功能，让你实时查看、跟进并自动跟单其他优秀投资者的交易组合，你将不再是一个人战斗。如何使用 eToro 的跟单功能？首先，利用 eToro 功能强大的投资人搜索功能工。
हेलो फ्रेंड, वेलकम टू एसएससी कैंपस। दोस्तों, नर्वस सिस्टम दो टाइप के होते हैं, सेंट्रल न्यूरल सिस्टम और पेरिफेरल न्यूरल सिस्टम। दोस्तों, सेंट्रल न्यूरल सिस्टम भी दो टाइप के होते हैं, एक ब्रेन होता है और एक स्पाइनल कॉर्ड होता है। और पेरिफेरल न्यूरल सिस्टम भी दो टाइप के होते हैं, सोमैटिक न्यूरल सिस्टम होता है और ऑटोनॉमिक न्यूरल सिस्टम होता है। दोस्तों, आज के इस वीडियो में हम बात करने वाले हैं ब्रेन के बारे में। आज के पूरे वीडियो में हम पूरे डीपली ब्रेन के बारे में बताएंगे। बाकी का जो हमारा नेक्स्ट वीडियो आएगा उसमें स्पाइनल कॉर्ड और बाकी के जो भी टॉपिक बचे हैं उसके हम बारे में बताएंगे। ब्रेन मतलब मस्तिष्क जंतुओं के सेंट्रल न्यूरल सिस्टम का कंट्रोल सिस्टम है। हमारे शरीर में जितने भी डिफरेंट ऑर्गन होते हैं, जैसे कि लंग्स, हार्ट, किडनी, इन सभी को हमारे ब्रेन के द्वारा कंट्रोल तथा कमांड किया जाता है। साथ ही साथ शरीर के बैलेंस, शरीर का टेम्परेचर, भूख और प्यास तथा बहुत सारे इंडोक्राइन ग्लैंड्स को हमारा ब्रेन कंट्रोल करता है। इसलिए